On September 20th, 2025, the Nebraska Cornhuskers welcomed the number 21 Michigan Wolverines to Memorial Stadium, kicking off Big Ten play. Nebraska has dominated early, outscoring opponents 147-24 over 3 games, sparking optimism unseen in Lincoln for years. Blowout victories over Akron and Houston Christian fueled the hype, but their narrow 20-17 escape against Cincinnati in Week 1 at neutral site Arrowhead Stadium revealed cracks. A late interception bailed out the Huskers after Cincinnati's failed drive squandered a chance at a touchdown or tying field goal. That gritty when exposed offensive inconsistencies, defensive struggles against the run, and reliance on luck. Nebraska's 3-0 record has restored a sense of relevance, but Michigan's pedigree and talent pose a true test. This game will show whether the Huskers' hot start holds up or crumbles against a proven opponent. Game day analysis. Momentum meets reality. Nebraska's undefeated start feels electric, but leans heavily on weaker opponents after the Cincinnati scare. Their offense ranks 5th nationally, averaging 545.7 yards per game, yet struggled to score over 20 points against a non-FCS team. The defense topped 25 in total yards allowed at around 285 per game and number 1 in passing defense at 198 yards allowed, faces a Michigan squad with balance, 14th in passing efficiency and a top 10 run defense that controls the clock. The Wolverines stumbled against Oklahoma, losing 24-13, but rebounded with 97 points across wins over New Mexico and Central Michigan. Nebraska hasn't beaten a ranked opponent since a 2016 victory over number 22 Oregon, extending a 10-game skid that includes losses to number 24 USC and number 4 Ohio State in 2024. Historically, Michigan leads the series 8-4-1, winning the last 4 meetings and outscoring Nebraska about 140-70 in those contests. Expect a grind where Michigan's talent wears down the Huskers, though the home crowd keeps it close early. Adaptability is key. Both teams are early season unknowns, but Michigan's straightforward approach outshines Nebraska's tendency to overcomplicate. The Wolverines pull away late for a defining win. Betting preview. Lean Michigan, hammer the under. Michigan is a 2.5-point favorite, with an implied score of 25-22, money line at -140 for the Wolverines and +115 for Nebraska, and an over-under of 45.5. The tight spread reflects Michigan's loss to Oklahoma and Nebraska's untested wins. Without that loss, Michigan would likely be favored by 3 to 7 points. If Nebraska had dropped the Cincinnati game, the spread could stretch to 6 to 10 points. Michigan's depth and superior recruiting make the -2.5 a steal. They could win by 10 to 14 points if their offense clicks. Nebraska struggled to score against Cincinnati's average defense, likely capping at 17 to 20 points here. For the total, take the under 45.5. This game won't mirror Nebraska's high-scoring tune-ups. Expect a defensive battle totaling 20 to 24 points. Nebraska will rely on field goals, with their kicker proving reliable on long attempts, as Michigan's elite defensive front disrupts their offense. Michigan's freshman quarterback, in his first Big Ten road start, may struggle against Nebraska's turnover-hungry secondary, keeping their score around 20. Michigan's totals have been mixed in 2025 so far, and low-scoring Big Ten openers are common. Bet Michigan to cover and the under for the total. Coaching matchup. Rule's Flash versus Podgy's interim stability. Nebraska's Matt Rule, in his 3rd year with a 12-13 record entering 2025 and a career mark of 61-53 across Temple, Baylor, Carolina, and Lincoln, brings aggressive recruiting that has bolstered Nebraska's roster, emphasizing a pro-style offense and physical defense. Yet, Rule's in-game decisions over managing plays, conservative late-game calls, and clock mismanagement often backfire. Against Cincinnati, his micromanaging nearly cost the game, and similar errors could haunt him today as he tries to showcase his coaching prowess. Michigan's Sharon Moore is serving a 2-game suspension tied to the 2023 sign-stealing scandal, leaving interim coach Biff Podgy in charge. Podgy, formerly head coach at Charlotte with a 6-16 record, lacks Power 4 experience, but offers a steady, no-nonsense approach. He led Michigan to a 63-3 rout of Central Michigan last week, relying on a run-heavy game plan and stout defense. Michigan staff depth allows Paggi to adapt without overcomplicating, potentially outshining Rhule's tendency for self-inflicted errors. Paggi's restraint gives Michigan the edge unless Rhule simplifies his approach. Key player matchups: talent versus momentum. Quarterbacks: Dylan Raiola versus Bryce Underwood. Nebraska's sophomore quarterback Dylan Raiola, a former top recruit, boasts a 77% completion rate, around 600 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, and no interceptions through 3 games. His strong arm could test Michigan's secondary, but the Wolverines' defensive front, allowing just 101 rushing yards per game, will pressure him. Michigan's true freshman Bryce Underwood, the top 2025 recruit, has thrown for about 486 total yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception, including 251 passing yards and 1 score in his debut against New Mexico. Facing Nebraska's secondary, which allows about 8 points per game and has forced 7 turnovers, Underwood's inexperience in Memorial Stadium's hostile environment could lead to mistakes. Raiola's experience gives him a slight edge, but Underwood's dual threat ability tilts it to Michigan if he's protected. Running backs: Emmett Johnson versus Justice Haynes. Nebraska's Emmett Johnson powers a ground game averaging 225 yards per game, with 326 yards and 4 touchdowns. However, Cincinnati exposed weaknesses with big runs. Michigan's Justice Haynes erupted for 159 yards and 3 touchdowns against New Mexico, backed by a strong offensive line. Nebraska's defense, solid in points allowed, may struggle if they focus on stopping Underwood, leaving Haynes room to gain 100-plus yards. Michigan's run defense, allowing 3.1 yards per carry, should contain Johnson, giving Haynes the advantage. Wide receivers / skill positions: Dane Key and Nizia Hunter versus Tyler Morris. Nebraska's Dane Key, with 2 touchdowns, and Nizia Hunter, with 82 yards on 4 catches against Akron, fuel a passing attack that helps the Huskers average 44 points per game. Michigan's secondary, with 4 interceptions, poses a threat. Michigan's Tyler Morris averages 67 yards per game and could exploit Nebraska's corners if Underwood connects. Nebraska has more depth, but Michigan's physical edge wins out. Defensive lines: Nebraska's front 7 versus Michigan's trench warfare. Nebraska's linebacker Dason McCullough and cornerback Malcolm Hartzog Jr., who sealed the Cincinnati win with an interception, anchor a unit allowing 198 passing yards per game. They'll challenge Underwood early. Michigan's defensive line, elite in efficiency, limits plays to 4.01 yards and could disrupt Raiola's rhythm. Michigan's proven trench dominance takes the edge. Game day details. Kickoff is set for 2:30 p.m. Central Time at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska. Expect partly to mostly cloudy skies, a high of 76 degrees Fahrenheit, and NNE winds at 10 to 20 miles per hour, perfect for the sea of red atmosphere. Watch on CBS or stream via Paramount+, Fubo, or the CBS Sports app. Listen on the Huskers radio network at 14 o'clock a.m. or 99.3 FM in Lincoln, Sirius XM Channel 145 for Nebraska, or Channel 195 for Michigan. Online audio is available at Huskers.com, the official Huskers app, or Varsity Network. The final score. This game tests Nebraska's resurgence against Michigan's tradition. The Huskers' momentum meets a Wolverines squad with superior talent. Nebraska fights hard at home, but Paggi's steady leadership and Underwood's potential lead Michigan to a 24-17 win, covering the spread and hitting the under. The Huskers remain bowl eligible, but face a reality check, while Michigan gains momentum for Big Ten play. Lincoln brace for a battle. Football's back, but Michigan's the pick.